the National Black Business Caucus was among the business organizations that watched on as the country hosted the BRICS bloc of nations at the Sandton Convention Center last week to find ways to negotiate and actually engage on trade. And this NBBC is now calling for more involvement of smaller businesses, SMMEs, particularly township businesses, in all the benefits that will come out of the BRICS, the 15th BRICS summit that was held last week. The CEO of the National Black Business Caucus is Volchere, Kgekwane, who is joining us in studio today. Volchere, thank you very much for your time this evening. I wanted to start with the state of small businesses, the constituency that you actually represent in South Africa today, because of all the challenges of high inflationary environment, high interest rates, as well as blackouts that are there. Those small businesses are said to be the ones that are reeling under the pressure of the blackouts. What's the state of small businesses in South Africa today?
Good afternoon, Xolani, and thanks for having the NBBC here. Yes, the state of small business, the small businesses are trying to cope and adapt, but it is very difficult. It is a very hard space at the moment, and for a number of reasons. Like you mentioned, those top three, which are inflation rates, they really affect. Load shedding, coupled with the higher tariff that was approved by NERSA, that really hurts small businesses as well. And those decisions are taken to solve one problem by creating another one. The state of small businesses right now, Xolani, is very hard. Many are folding. There are so many that are folding. And when small businesses fold in large volumes, the economy as a whole starts to suffer. And sometimes I feel that there's this big difference in equality between the large business and the small businesses. And the large businesses tend to sometimes feel that it's not really their problem what small businesses go through. But the result of small businesses collapsing is that employment collapses. When employment is no longer available, the large businesses suffer. How will you pay an insurance premium to an insurance company if you are no longer employed? And the insurance company requires or needs individuals and businesses to be able to take out insurance premiums for them to survive. So they are in the same boat, but some think as long as it's sinking on that side, this side we're okay. And it's not. It's not the case. So I'd like to see something more collaborative.
So for 30 years, you've been pushing the message for support for small businesses, particularly those that are in the townships. And we know it's been said that the challenge of high unemployment that we have in this country could actually be dealt with through the support and encouragement of people to actually open up more small businesses, because it has been proven that smaller businesses are the ones that will put a dent on the high unemployment rate that we have. Now, looking at what happened last week over the 3 days, many countries were here under the BRICS banner to try and expand and the bloc and make some other crucial decisions related to the country's trade in terms of businesses here and businesses in China and the other bloc of nations. What were your thoughts in terms of how businesses, small businesses in particular, your constituents, was it represented? Was it in the room? Did you feel that you have been ostracized and you haven't been invited to take part?
I don't feel ostracized is the right term. I think government in its own way, you've got the BRICS Business Council, which is actually headed by our Black Business Council and BUSA. I don't think ostracized is the term. What I do feel is happening is that there's this ideology that let's get this done with those who are at the top. It's a top-down type of structure, right? And that is problematic to me because my constituency, even now, we have had meetings about BRICS, pre-BRICS, with my constituency to just try to educate them as to what this all means for them. But it's too small and too far apart. We need government to invest more in these, and not at BRICS time, not just before the conference. Because if it's just before the conference, it becomes a, by the way, we're having BRICS. You might want to participate if you feel like it, right? But you must understand, for a small business, they are owner-run businesses. If someone is in KZN, and you tell them a week before BRICS that you should be at BRICS or you can be at BRICS or here's an invite, and you've never gone to KZN or to Free State or to Northern Cape, whichever province, to say, this is what BRICS is about, this is what we're trying to achieve in BRICS, and the trade component affects you like this, and what are your thoughts? What would you like to see coming out of this? That's a true engagement, where the small business can say, our struggle is in this particular component, can we solve it with BRICS, and how can we solve it with BRICS? How can we interact with companies from the BRICS countries? By so doing, you are involving those who you say you're behaving, you're creating opportunities on behalf of. You're involving them to be able to structure the architecture of this, to design the architecture of the interactions and what they need, understanding the needs, right? And that's not happening enough. The BRICS Business Council should really have, I think this can be done better next time, that they should really have gone 6-8 months before BRICS to interact. I did ask that to happen, but it never did eventuate. But we did consult the BRICS Business Council for this to happen. I'd like to see, because I'd like to see township visits in a city hall in township where we're going to discuss the South African plan. Let's involve everybody in Plan South Africa, because we are part of this geopolitical landscape. But what is the South African plan, and what is the plan that the small businesses would like to see happen for them?
But you haven't allowed the limitations that you've seen to deter you from the fact that you are going to go on in terms of creating opportunities for small businesses. And you are having another summit of your own with one of the countries that is highly involved in BRICS. And you said that this is the opportune time to actually have another similar engagement with China that actually involves small businesses in South Africa. If I'm a small business and I hear you tonight talking about the engagement that is upcoming, what exactly am I going to get? What is in it for me? Should I go and attend another summit or a summit that has been called by the National Black Business Caucus and the Chinese government to try and get small businesses involved in the bigger picture that is BRICS?
Thank you for that question. So what I've been saying earlier about lack of engagement, the NBBC, we have a belief that complaining and not having solutions will become part of the problem rather than part of the solution, right? So we took initiative. We partnered with a company from China, which is a government-backed company, right? So if you understand Chinese businesses that operate in this way, you got your Chinese state-owned companies, which would be like an ESCOM, for example, which is owned by the state. But then you've got companies that do the work for the People's Republic of China, especially spreading a good word about it and so on, and fostering relationships, and they get backed by government. So this is a government-backed company called Golden Bridge Expo. So they've opened offices in South Africa. And we have an event starting from the 30th, 31st, and it ends on the 1st.
Of September.
Of September, yes.
So it's this week?
It's this week. It's on Wednesday, yes. This is crafted by us with engagement with them also, working together to make sure that there will be an engagement on the sidelines of the BRICS main event that is going to now allow the layman to interact directly with investors and businesses from China. Because it's all well and good to talk about that, yes, as Chinese businesses, so many trillions in trade that's going to happen, but as a small business, you don't know where you're going to fit into that. So this is what we are doing now. For the first time, I believe, in South Africa, in all honesty, it's where we are saying the small business from township can meet directly with a big business from China and explore opportunities together. Instead of going through an intermediary like Volchere, Kgekwane, you have to ask me, and then I'll ask my contacts, and I'll see if I want to help you or not, and that's how corruption also becomes about. So we want them to meet, to create their own story and their own relationship in building both economies of both countries, right? So those are predominantly Chinese manufacturers. There's 200 businesses coming here for this summit and expo, and it's a South African industrial expo, right? International Industrial Expo, sorry. And in this, we'll have panels of discussions where I've actually invited small businesses to also be available to participate in the panel discussions as well. But also, we're doing business matchmaking. So, for example, if there's an industry that is not represented there, and you are functioning in this industry, right? I've got a small business in the Val that deals with recycling, and they've got some small machinery to do so, but they need more machinery. And I'm going to be introducing them to a machinery manufacturer who's going to make a partnership with them. And our hope as NBBC, and as we assist the small business to negotiate, because we understand that there's a big business and this one, and this is an international, a global business, and this is a small business. So we come in with our expertise as well, where we've got people who are experienced, like our president, Dr. Danisa Baloyi, is very experienced in dealing with big businesses, right? And she's already had so many years of experience, so she can impart some of that knowledge to the small businesses and hold them by the hand. And I'll be there as well doing that, as she has mentored me before, you know what I mean?
So this is happening where?
This is at Sandton Convention Center. It's for 3 days. Our small business will be able to actually make deals with big business. And that's the main thing that I want to do, because we are contributors, major contributors to the Township Economic Development Bill. And I would like to see a way that our internal systems that we've built to develop our economy can be taken out of silos and work collectively to empower small business as a whole.
Volchere Kgekwane is the CEO at the National Black Business Caucus, talking about another summit that is going to now have some tangible outcomes when it comes to the BRICS summit that we saw last week. There's a summit that is coming up once again for SMEs and township businesses to actually connect with bigger businesses from the Chinese kingdom or from the Chinese country, and that is quite an important one. 200 businesses from China will be here to engage and find business opportunities. That's business for now.